Hello, everybody. See if people pop into the chat. It's always weird seeing myself to the left of me. Hey, guys. Hi there. I gotta pop out this chat so I can see it. Evening. It's afternoon where I'm at, Thorban, but evening to you. Hi, guys. How's it going? Greetings from Chile. Greetings from the United States, Gonzalo. Yeah, I'm getting ready to play. Well, I'm leaving in like an hour and a half to go play D&D. And I thought I would live stream because normally I want to do a live stream a month, and I didn't do my live stream last month, end of January, so this is kind of the end of January one. So Florida and Belgium and Southern Illinois, this is awesome. How you guys doing? Getting ready for an 8-hour game today. That's crazy. I have not played D&D longer than 4.5 hours, maybe 5 hours. 8-hour game is great. Am I the DM, Orhan? No. This is... so I run a game on Tuesday nights, Hot Springs Island, that I talk about in the Saturday morning D&D show every once in a while. And, well, like every episode because it's the game that I'm running. But one of my players from that wanted to run a game. So his name's Nathan, and he's running this homebrew game. And I'm playing a Warforged Eldritch Knight that I'm having a lot of fun with. So I'm excited to play because I don't get to play very often. So it's kind of, it's exciting. It's fun. Well, thank you, Cohen. I'm glad that my lore videos has been a help to you. They're fun to make. I just made a video this morning for Wednesday, and I'll give you guys a sneak peek, or I'll tell you a sneak peek. It's going to be on the Archfey. So I'm really excited for that one to come out. And I'm going to do, I think, a series of Warlock Patron videos. So we'll do the Archfey, and we'll do like devils and maybe demons and then outsiders. And so that'll be fun. So your lore videos are godly. Thank you, Noah. Do you have any lore videos on Strahd, says Aiden? I don't, but I'm working on... right now I'm working on a Tyranny of Dragons video, and eventually I'm going to get to Curse of Strahd, and I'm going to make a whole, like, probably 1 or 2 videos normally on Strahd, and then a Campaigns Explained detailing, like, the lore behind Curse of Strahd. So, patience, but yeah, it's probably not going to be for a couple months, but it's in the works. It's in the works. A stream perfection, says Tyler. Thank you. 10 plus hours every Saturday night. Steve Painter plays. That's crazy. I think that would be way too much D&D for me, but who knows? Skull Dixon, hello. Always nice to see you. Is that homebrew D&D or homebrews and I made my own system? It's homebrew D&D. We're playing D&D, but it's not a campaign setting. It's not Forgotten Realms. It's his own world that he's created. So never the player, always the storyteller. Yeah, I like DMing though. I really do. Like, I think I prefer it over playing, but I definitely enjoy creating. I enjoy creating playable characters because I like the mechanics of the game. So when I get to play, it's kind of fun. Like yesterday, I was on D&D Beyond playing around, and I made a Archfey Warlock, kind of inspired by the video that I wanted to create today and yesterday that I've been writing. And I'm like, I want to make like an Eladrin Fey Warlock. That sounds really cool. And will I ever get to play him? Probably not, but that's what I do. Like, I like making those characters. And so when I do get to play, I kind of go to my list of characters that I'm excited about. And I'm like, oh yeah, like I've always wanted to play this Goblin Wizard. I better like pull that out and play it for a one shot or something. And the Warforged Eldritch Knight was kind of the same way. Like, I wanted to try an Eldritch Knight. I wanted to try a fighter because I usually play caster classes. And yes, I'm playing an Eldritch Knight, so I'm technically a caster. But yeah, I don't know. But I'm having a lot of fun. It's really awesome. I kind of theme all of my spells as abilities that he has. So instead of casting a spell, like I have Featherfall. So instead of Featherfall, I actually like have fans that come out of my mechanical body and like slow my descent, kind of a thing. So it's going to be fun. We had like a really close call the last session, so I'm excited to see where we're going in this session. And we're currently in the Underdark, and we're going to be exploring the Underdark, and I like the Underdark a lot. So, Jason says, love your videos, bro. Forgotten Realms is my fave setting, and I'm currently running a massive campaign on Roll20 starting in 5 minutes. Well, good. That's awesome, Jason, and good luck with your campaign, and I hope it's a great session. That's great, Cohen. I've been loving your lore videos, and they really help bring games to my games to life. That's kind of the that was the whole point of the channel. Is you don't necessarily have to be like a Forgotten Realms fanatic, but even watching the videos can inspire your home games and like take you in new cool directions. So that's awesome to hear that you guys are doing. Whoa, jump from the chat. It just jumped really fast for me. Yeah, I'm going to play a Warforged Eldritch Knight today. So normally on Sundays, I play with my regular D&D group that I run a game for, but we couldn't meet today for some reason. And we're on a D&D hiatus anyway. We're playing Betrayal Legacy instead, which is really fun. Betrayal at House on the Hill is probably my favorite board game that's not D&D, if you want to call D&D a board game, which it's kind of technically not. But I love Betrayal at House on the Hill. So when we got the Legacy version, it's been a lot of fun of going through the story that is Betrayal Legacy. And I was the traitor twice the last time we played, which was really exciting. What's the hardest part of DMing? I don't know, Steve Lee. I wouldn't necessarily say that it is hard. If you're writing your own stuff, that level of creativity can be difficult, because you're just like, I don't know, like I do it all the times where I'm like, oh, I want to make a dungeon. Shoot, I need traps. I need puzzles. Like I'm not good at coming up with traps and puzzles on my own. But that's the beauty of DMing, is that you read other sources and you borrow and steal and incorporate it into your game. And so, yeah, maybe the creative aspect of it, but I don't even think that's that difficult, because steal like an artist, as they say. Are you planning on doing a video about Vecna? I am. It's on my list. The D&D villain series, I want to do Vecna and Cass. So they're on there. So we'll see. It keeps jumping down. So I'm like missing some of the back of the chat. Mech Wizard. Yeah, basically. Truemate. My Warforged Eldritch Knight is not Iron Man Frank, but I did have a player character that I made that was basically Iron Man. That was kind of a fighter slash, I think it was a multi-class fighter warlock, so that I could get like the repulsor beams of the Eldritch Blast and stuff. That was kind of, I like taking themes like that, but I never played him. I just kind of played around with that. Spellcasters can't fight in an anti-magic field. This comment was sponsored by the Fighter Gangs. I wonder if a Warforged would operate in an anti-magic field, since they are magical constructs. That would be something that my DM would throw at me and shut me down somehow. Eberron and Ravnica is better than the Forgotten Realms. Well, there you go. That's an opinion. Have I thought of doing a video on Hollandeth? I'm not sure who Hollandeth is. Let's do a quick Google search. Because I'm always looking for new topics. So, oh, it says my stream health is not good. Oh no, is lower than the recommended bitrate. We recommended use a stream of this, but we're okay though, right? Like stream's still up and running. Hollandeth is an independent city-state. Yeah, would definitely be interested in making a video on that. Looks like I can pull from some resources, so I'll add it to the list. Yeah. Plan your setting and basic story. I agree with Wizard. Have I played Betrayal at Baldur's Gate? Yes. So I own Betrayal at House on the Hill, and then another one of my D&D groups, they have Betrayal at Baldur's Gate, and it's fun. Like, we've played it a handful of times. It's the exact same game, so it's just really fun, and I love it. And it's D&D themed, so it's even better. But I haven't picked it up because I own Betrayal at House on the Hill, and having like basically the same game twice didn't seem good. And then my friend bought it, so whenever I want to play it, I can definitely go play it with him, because odds are I'm going to play Betrayal at Baldur's Gate with him. So, and then he doesn't own the original Betrayal game, he just has that one. Same with Betrayal Legacy. Like, a friend bought that, and I'm like, well, I don't really have to buy Betrayal Legacy because he has it, and if we're going to play it, we're going to play it there. So Skull Dixon, introducing Warforges into my game with dark blood magic. How does that work, Skull Dixon? Yeah, I'm curious. How's your theater experience helped you as a DM? That's a good question, Dave. Maybe the saying yes. And I'll even say this, when I first started DMing, I was really bad at it. It's a muscle that you need to exercise, and it's not like if you do theater or if you're an improv specialist, you're automatically going to be a great DM. I don't think that's the true case. Like, I think those skills can help you, but it's a muscle that you got to exercise. And I remember I did a lot of like telling at my players rather than letting them describe things and saying yes and to them early on in my career, because I didn't really understand. I was like, well, I wrote this and they're going to play in it. It's mine. If that makes sense. I don't know, because I don't do as many like theater, I don't do as many like character voices like Matt Mercer does at the table and things like that. I'm not that gifted. But I don't know, maybe a willingness to try new things. Like, that's always like, how am I going to tackle this situation? I do that a lot as an actor. And reading a script, like, how am I going to do this and how am I going to do that? And so, I kind of approach D&D the same way. So, are you going to go through each of the Dragon Heist villains? Maybe. I started with Manchun because I find Manchun interesting, and then a lot of people were asking for Jarlaxle, and so I did Jarlaxle. But I haven't read Waterdeep Dragon Heist because I'm still holding out that I might play in it at some point. But maybe I should do all of the Dragon Heist villains. Like I said, next Wednesday's video is going to be on the Archfey. So I'm kind of I'm not following my streak of all of the Dragon Heist villains. Yeah, you would think that it wouldn't function in an anti-magic zone, but they probably hand-waved it. I agree, Skull Dixon, that you wouldn't think a Warforged would function, but it probably does. So, what are my other interests outside of D&D? Well, I like video games. I like reading books. I do local theater, so I really enjoy that, and I see a lot of shows. What else do I do? Like, D&D has just dominated my life in the last like couple years. So I'm trying to think of like what else I do, but I'm trying to start working out, like D&D fitness. So I threw my back out like a couple weeks ago, and the doctors were basically like, you have the weakest core. Like, you sit at a desk all day, you sit at home and edit videos. Like, you just sit too much. So you need to be active. So that's an aspect of life that I'm slowly merging into, that I need to work out more so that I don't throw my back out constantly. And so who knows, maybe D&D fitness. I think my Tia Zimmer is doing something with D&D fitness at one of the conventions, and I was curious about going to that, so it could be kind of fun. Your Eberron videos have been helpful as well. I'm writing a campaign based in that world. I'm a big Forgotten Realms nerd, but Eberron has been very new. Yeah, Aiden Pruitt, I like Eberron a lot, and it kind of came at a good time because being like a YouTuber and just, I don't know, like, I love the Forgotten Realms, but I felt like I was getting to the point where I was kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel of the Forgotten Realms, and I didn't know what else to make videos on. So I'm like, I'm going to take a break and I'm going to make these Eberron videos, and it's going to be like a brand new bunch of lore for me to digest and read and all this stuff. So I was really excited to have new lore to talk about. So Eberron came at a really good time for me, and I need to go back and make more Eberron videos because I really like that campaign settings, and other settings. Like I wanted to cover Dark Sun, and I wanted to cover Greyhawk a little bit, and a lot of the other stuff. So yeah, and who knows, like Mike Merles did a Greyhawk video on YouTube on the D&D channel, and I haven't watched it yet, but I was really curious that we're talking about Greyhawk for some reason, because they've been very Forgotten Realms heavy, and not like we're going to introduce other campaign settings, other than I guess they did introduce through the PDF Eberron. So yeah. Eberron is like post World War I and World War II. I like the high magic of Eberron. So, but you're right. The Morning is just a nuke that went off, or something terrible that destroyed the world. It's ambiguous on purpose. So, oh man, it keeps jumping. I like scroll down a little bit, and then it jumps all the way to the bottom, and I'm like, where was I? Skull Dixon says, Jordan, it's the creation myth created through dark magics. My players are discovering it in the next couple of sessions. That sounds cool. Really cool, Skull Dixon. So, cool. Are anybody else playing D&D today? I'm excited to sit down and drink a beer and play some games. I can send you a breakdown of the plot later on, PM me on Twitter. Yeah, I will actually, Skull Dixon. That sounds cool. I would like to see that. How many people do we have? Oh, look, holy cow, 53. And like the video says that my stream health is not the best. I think it's because I'm at 60 frames per second. Maybe I need to be at 30 frames per second. I'm using a different live stream. I'm using Streamlabs OBS rather than regular Streamlabs because I wanted the pop-up alerts. And in order to get those pop-up alerts, I had to do that. So, 2 parties with Curse of Strahd. That sounds awesome. Speaking of your acting experience, were there any single scripts or play that has clearly helped you, or is it just an acting process that's been helpful? I can tell you some of my favorite plays. There is a show that I directed called An Infinite Ache, and I think that was one of the best challenging pieces for me as a director, because the play starts with it's a 2-person play. It's a man and a woman, and they start out as a young couple in their 20s that just met, or maybe like early 30s, but young, and they just met. And then throughout the whole play, it transitions their entire life. So we get to a point where they're dating, and then all of a sudden they're married, and you kind of tilt your head and you're like, oh, like they're married. That's weird. And then they have a kid, and then they're fighting and they get a divorce. And the whole play kind of keeps going up until the point where the man is spreading out his wife's ashes, and remembering the good times that they had together. And as an actor, to play all of those age ranges and not have experienced that, like it's one thing to be, in your 60s and you've gone through love and divorce and things, and so you know what that feels like, you know how to portray that. But when you're 25 and you don't really know that, and I was 32 directing this play, and it's like I had never been married at the time. That was just a really challenging, awesome piece of theater. Yeah, and welcome to the theater podcast. We're just going to talk about plays that we like. Shakespeare's always good, and yeah, but An Infinite Ache, really, really good show. So, it's very interesting what players pick. Books, do you like Jim Butcher? He's my favorite author, and I think you would like him. Herbert, you are correct. I do like Jim Butcher. I am on book 4 of the Dresden Files, and I like Dresden as a character a lot. I just got done with a whole bunch of the Fae stuff, so it was really kind of cool. I very, very much, you can pluck that out and put it in your D&D setting, so I thought that was cool. The Fae are cool people. In that book, I liked how they approached that. I like how they approached magic too. It's just a good, solid story. Half Goliath Barbarian, awesome, Dylan. That's really cool. I'm playing D&D today. Hooray! Wood Elf Kensai Monk with 3 levels of Gloomstalker Ranger, Hunter's Mark, Fury of Blows, Elven Accuracy. That sounds great. That sounds like a powerhouse. So, your stream seems very behind the chat. That is true. And that might be with the video output is low. I'm not really sure. Also, I'm not reading in active time. I'm kind of going down through the chat and then I skip to the bottom. But thank you, Krista. Yeah, I'm seeing like 59 now. So, when selecting magic items, do you like to tailor the items to the dungeon or the players, or just randomly compile a list? I've done all 3, and I think I like tailoring magic items to the players because I like when they can get the most out of a magic item. But lately I've been doing, let's just roll randomly and see what we get. And that's also really fun because you're not sure how your players are going to use this item in an unexpected way. So I might do random in the future. Definitely, if it's a boss, I'll be like, this is a magic item that kind of pertains to that boss, and whether my players are going to use it or not. Like, my players just defeated a warlock lich character that I had who was very snake centric, and he had a staff of the python. They're never going to use this staff of the python, but it was a good item for him to have, and it made sense for him to have it. So even though they're not going to use it, I still threw it in there. So, hello, Dark Knight Caraco. Of all the various things that claim to control undead, who's your favorite? Vecna, Orcus? I don't know. The Raven Queen, maybe? Orcus? Vecna's cool. I'm going to have to go with Orcus, though. I like Orcus a lot. Just because I like a lot of the demon princes. I don't know. I think I like demons more than devils, and the abyss more than the 9 hells. So we'll say Orcus. My current campaign is about ancient gods. They were in the embodiment of the elements of mankind as well as ancient dragons. They were locked away by the gods. Them being released would mean the apocalypse. How would you make a Gelfling character build? Honey Drop the Unicorn, which is just a great name. What do you mean by Gelfling? Do you mean well, let's Google what you mean, because I don't know. So the Gelfling from the Dark Crystal? Probably like some kind of like halfling build. Maybe a gnome. I don't know. Furies of Cauldron series is good too. I'll have to check that out. Will you explain the companions in Forgotten Realms? The books, the companions? I'm probably not going to go into detail about explaining the novels or a lot of the novels, because I don't want to spoil novels and have people yell at me for being like, I was reading that book. So go check out the companions. But any idea what class you're going to be playing today? So I'm playing a Eldritch Knight, Warforged Eldritch Knight, Master Mash. I want to make a very Lovecraftian campaign. Any suggestions? Probably not playing D&D, because the D&D characters are really overpowered, which is intentional. Like, you're supposed to feel like a hero in D&D, and Lovecraftian is very much like things are out of your control. So try a different system. And as cliche as it is, try like Call of Cthulhu, because that is a Lovecraftian system. But that madness, or if you want to play D&D, there is madness tables. See, I'm trying to like read this and it's scrolling up too fast. There are madness tables, and you could, I would also encourage you to read Out of the Abyss, because there's a lot of like when they see the demons, you roll on madness tables, and that is something that is out of the player's control. Like, they can't defeat these demons easily. So these demon princes. So yeah, try that. I've never done a Lovecraftian campaign. I've never really done a horror campaign. There's a lot of games I want to. My players now in our campaign are going into the Shadowfell, and I have the 4th edition Shadowfell mechanic where it's a bunch of cards, and they roll like wisdom or constitution saves at the beginning of the day, and if they fail, they pull from these cards and they get different detrimental effects because of whatever card they pull randomly. And so that's something that I'm excited to run. Just like the harshness of the Shadowfell is oppressing them, and they have to figure out a way of getting out of there. So tailoring magic items is great for story-driven games. Random is better for sandbox type games. I concur. Like if you have a MacGuffin that needs to be in the game and it is tailored to a specific character, like then that is the way to go because it's story-driven and it moves the plot forward. But if you're just in a fun sandboxy game like Hot Springs Island, I just roll randomly for magic items and we see what they're having. So Bitter Monk says, I'm a big fan, bro. I'm a big fan of you, Bitter Monk. So thank you. The one Matt Mercer rules on corruption and the horror rules in the DMG. Yeah, there's horror rules in the DMG, so check that out. The Raven Queen is so cool. He is, or she is. I killed Orcus in my campaign. That's a new Lord of Undeath on the rise. So, let's jump down a little bit. My group is running Tyranny of Dragons and have just started Rise of Tiamat. They are begging me to extend it to level 20 so they can mess up Tiamat, considering that she is supposed to be dealt with. Do it. Or have them fight him when they get to like level 15. I think you can completely take out Tiamat when you're 15 or 16 based on the progression in the Tyranny of Dragons. So like if they want to fight Tiamat, let them fight Tiamat. Sounds awesome. The campaign I'm currently doing is Dungeon of the Mad Mage, and your Undermountain video and your videos on Drow and Underdark have been really helpful. I want to add a famous Drow villain though. Any tip? Maybe Jarlaxle. He's a famous Drow villain. Or I would encourage you to make your own. Like make some cool matron of the Underdark, or perhaps like a weapons master or something, or maybe a renegade Drow that's just like running through the Underdark and got lost in the Dungeon of the Mad Mage. That could be cool. How would you build a How to Train Your Dragon Rider character? I would probably make now I'm just thinking off the top of my head, probably a Beastmaster Ranger with something reflavored as a Drake so that you could be on the dragon, and then give him the mounted combat feat and make the pet a little stronger than the normal Beastmaster pet so that you could like fly around on a dragon or something. So if that's what I would do. Would you be interested in a video talking about Tiamat's second in command, a green dragon I can't remember the name of? Sure. I'll have to look into it. I didn't know. Yeah, I'll have to do some research on Tiamat. Oh my goodness. Liam, good content. Thank you so much, sir. That was really nice of you. I appreciate it. At level 15, I'm going to go to Avernus to take her on in hell. I should be rewatching your video on the Realm over and over, so thank you. Good luck, Monster Mash. Manster Mash. I've been saying your name wrong. I apologize. I recommend using If you run horror, the players have to buy into and pick up the horror of the game, otherwise it comes out flat. I agree, Skull Dixon. You can't throw that on your players. You have to be like, players, we are doing a horror game. So, and hopefully they latch onto that. So, what's your opinion of some people making demons and devils the same thing? Do what is good for your table, I guess. Like if your DM doesn't see a difference, then who really cares? I like the alignment system. A lot of people don't like the alignment system. So the fact that we have this like lawful evil and this chaotic evil, like I like the separation of the devils and demons. But if it's not for your game, it's not for your game. And then if that's something that like super bugs you at a table, like if I had a DM come to me and say, you know, like they're going to be the same thing, but I've got all of these reasons why, I'd probably be like, oh, that's cool. Like it's well thought out. But if it's kind of just frivolous, like, no, I don't like the fact that I have to think of chaotic and lawful. I don't like that. Then I'd be like, well, it's not hard to think like that. So like just have a new idea. Personally, I'm not a fan of the Raven Queen, especially not Matt Mercer's depiction of her, even though I love the rest of Critical Role. I didn't finish season 1 of Critical Role, so I don't know much, but I like the Raven Queen. Yeah. How much Forgotten Realms would you say I would have to know to DM in the setting for a starting group? If I know too little of Forgotten Realms, should I just try another setting? Gustavo, no. I don't think you need to know anything about the Forgotten Realms to really run in the Forgotten Realms. you can pick up it's like Sword Coast Adventurer's Guide, get a brief history of it, and pick a location, and then make the setting your own. So like, oh, like I need a city, Waterdeep. I'll put it here. That Waterdeep can look however you want it to be. So don't overthink it. Now, if you're playing with people who know a lot about the Forgotten Realms and you don't know a lot about the Forgotten Realms, just explain to them ahead of time. By the way, guys, I don't know a lot, so this is the Gustavo Forgotten Realms. This is not like canon Forgotten Realms, because that's the beauty of it, is you just make it your own. So I would definitely say you don't need to know much about the Forgotten Realms. You should just start playing in it if you want. A lot of it is there already as part of just D&D canon, and just use it, you know. Alignment is fake news. Can you do a video on the Feywilds and how to roleplay as an Eladrin? I did a video on the Feywild, and next Wednesday's video is going to be about the Archfey. So stay tuned. Honey, drop the unicorn. Tyler Willis, I haven't seen it. Most of the... Alignment are more like guidelines than rules. That is true. That is true. Out of the Abyss, I'm playing a half-elf rogue. I accidentally split up from the team, and found the two in large dark dwarves fighting. Fun. Chaotic Magnet, welcome. Chaotic Magnet and I are gonna play Dungeon Crawl Classics. I'm really excited. Because again, I don't get to be a player very often, and now I'm a player in 2 games. It's crazy. Never played the game, but I love the Salvatore novels and others like it, so I love your content. Well, thank you, 40 Fitness and More. Yeah, I like the Salvatore novels as well. They're fun. I'm currently reading Elminster in Hell. I'm still not sold on Ed Greenwood as an author, but like everyone says that that's one of the better ones, so I'm trying to read more of those novels. So get some Ed Greenwood lore in my brain. Mishi Knight, hey, nice content, sir. Thank you, Mishi Knight. It's not hard to think like that. Jordan's slogan for Mayor 2020. It's weird. Like the alignment system in Dungeon Crawl Classics is just chaos, neutral, or lawful. And lawful is kind of sided with good, and chaos is kind of sided with evil. And then neutral is just like, you lukewarm jerk, you need to pick a side. But the thief plays differently if you're chaotic than if you are neutral or lawful, and the same with a lot of the other characters have different spins on what you can and cannot do. Like the cleric can turn away certain creatures if they are lawful, but not creatures if they are chaotic. So that alignment system kind of works into the mechanics of the game a little bit more. And so I like it. And it would be cool if Dungeons and Dragons had something like that. Like they kind of used to, like you could only attune to this if you were lawful, maybe something like that, like magic items. But it is really more of a guideline, I think. Yeah. I'm running a homebrew version of Storm King's Thunder, and it is set in the Forgotten Realms technically, but I've told my players that this is our version and not canon. Really helpful. That's exactly what you should do, Trey. So good for you. How many dice made of metal or precious stones do you own? I was very blessed and gifted that I had a couple of companies send me metal dice for review. So I own 3 sets of metal dice right now. I think I had 4, but I gave one of them away in a like, hey, I hit 30,000 subscribers giveaway. Yeah, I don't roll them though, because A, they're really pretty, and B, they like damage my table. So I need a dice box, which I have, but I just don't use them very often. Precious stones, I don't have any precious stone dice. So make a video on Volo. Bored with Reality, that is one of my ideas. You would be surprised how little info there is on Volo. There is the information Volo provides, like he explores these areas and he does all this other stuff, but he doesn't have a lot of lore himself, which is surprising. So The book says Tiamat's arrival results in the apocalypse. What do you think the Dragon Queen arriving in the mortal realms would look like? I think it would look like the apocalypse. I think you would have a deity walking the earth of Faerun, nobody able to really stop her. Maybe she carves out a home for herself somewhere, and then the next campaign is leading an army against her, which would be really, really cool. So any modules, just inspiration to use making your own game, or any of them worth running as is? Michael, I like the White Plume Mountain a lot. That was just a fun, like 3 or 4 session module. And a lot of the ones in Tales of the Yawning Portal are really good. So other than that, I read a lot of Dungeon Crawl Classic modules and not a lot of classic D&D modules, but I should probably get into reading some more of those. I'm really curious about the next book, the Boats and Shite that are coming out, or the Sea and Shite, or whatever it is. The title pending aquatic thing that we're getting. But that should be cool because they're using an older modules that they're incorporating the Sahagin in and stuff. So, Ola, Jarlaxle is not a villain. Let's address this right now, Matt. Jarlaxle is a villain in Waterdeep Dragon Heist, and it says at the very beginning of that book, select your villain. Which villain do you want? And Jarlaxle is listed as one of them. So however we feel about Jarlaxle not being a villain, he is technically a villain within that module, which is why I made him D&D villains, because that. Whether he is an anti-hero, whether he is all this other stuff, like it's all... like the book says he's a villain. That's why I went with he's a villain. Like Manshoon is a villain because he's in Waterdeep Dragon Heist as a villain. But I understand he's a beloved character. But I got a lot of comments on that where people are just like, hey, noob, he's not a villain. Hey, he's more of an anti-hero. And I'm like, I understand. I've read the books. Like, I have feelings for Jarlaxle as well. But, like, we have to understand he's listed as a villain in the book. Like, what do you want from me? So I thought that was really funny. You've done a couple of videos on the Gith and Astral Sea. Have you done any other videos explaining on the conflict between the Gith and the Mind Flayers? I love your channel and happily await your videos. Thank you, Taylor. No, I mean, you see the channel. I haven't done any other videos expanding between the Gith and the Mind Flayers, but that's a really good idea. Like, I might write that down, actually. Open up Notepad, Gith and Mind Flayers history. I like that idea. So thank you, Taylor. I'll add that to my list. Jarlaxle is complex, correct. Chaos is terrible, and blah, blah, blah. It jumped again. I have the same problem with my metal dice, says Waffle Bunny. I totally sympathize. Who is Volo? Volo something last name is a character in the Forgotten Realms that went around exploring the Forgotten Realms. He's actually on the cover of Volo's Guide to Monsters. So, along with a giant. Now in the game, we are almost out of the Underdark, but there's 2 big spiders blocking our path. Our session ended with me grabbing a beholder eye, pointing at the spiders and threatening them. Any advice? Fire the beholder eye. I'm assuming it's a magic wand that you can use. Or, I don't know, mess up some spiders. That's what I'd do, but... where is Kolo? I've been asking where Kolo is for at least 10 minutes now. I'm playing a human diviner of the archaeologist, and it is the first time I've been a wizard. What would you suggest to make it more interesting? I was thinking I found a Netherese spellbook. Ooh, that would be really cool and powerful. Yeah, or maybe like some Netherese object that imbues you with power, or maybe that's because every level a wizard learns a new spell. Maybe the Netherese spellbook is revealing new spells to you as you level. I like that, Cohen. I think you could definitely play with something like that. Villain does not mean evil. Not necessarily. Would a campaign set in the Industrial Revolution where magic and machine conflict with one another be interesting? Trying to DM for friends for the first time. Why not? Like, well, for Dungeons and Dragons, there's not a lot of like mechanical things that you could be like guns and stuff that you could say it's magic versus machine. There might be a better setting for that. I don't know off the top of my head, but I would play in that game, Marcus. I think that's a really cool like yeah, I think it's interesting. So, have you used Manshoon a lot in your games? Dragon Heist got me interested in running him as a main for a campaign. I have not used Manshoon in a lot of my games. My homebrew or my Forgotten Realms game is very much like villains that I have created because I find creating villains fun. So I haven't used a lot of like Forgotten Realms villains. But after making my Manshoon video, I really like the idea of my players stumbling upon a Manshoon clone, like some leftover clone from the Manshoon Wars. And they get maybe a history of the Manshoon Wars or just some interesting stuff. So yeah, so I might do that in the future. We'll see. Spoiler for the next Forgotten Realms lore video, says anything goes. No, I spoiled it already. I'm making a video this Wednesday on the Archfey. I just finished it this morning. I was editing all morning. My cat wakes me up at 7 a.m. for food and just paws at my face until I feed him. So, yeah. Jordan admitting he's part of the Lizard Overlords. Shh. We don't talk about the Masters. Volothamp Gadarm. Thank you, Krista. Gith Yankee and Gith Zerai falling out would be interesting. That would be interesting. I think that, yeah. Just Gith Yankee and Gith. And why they separated. Like, yeah. Why one of them lives in limbo. All that stuff before. I always thought Volo was the giant. He's not. He's the little guy with the book. Hey, I'm going to start my first D&D in a week. We are 3 players plus a DM. One of my friends is going at rogue and the other fighter. What do you think is the best class to pick? It sounds maybe like bard or cleric, something supportish to go with the rogue and the fighter. Like you've got a tank, you've got a damage dealer. If you're 3 players, I would pick a supportish role. And either bard or cleric could be a lot of fun in a situation like that. So, Media Detective, I just want to let you know I love your videos and I hope you continue to make more videos in the future. Your Manshoon video definitely gave me some inspiration and ideas. Thank you, Media Detective. I plan on continuing to make videos because making YouTube videos has been a really good, like, one, creative outlet for me, but also, you know that when you're just like really bored, but you're too bored to start things, I'm always like, oh, I got to be working on a video. So it gets me out of that slump too. And I like making videos a lot, and it's healthy for me. So I'm gonna keep making them. I'm actually working on the Tyranny of Dragons video as well. I have tomorrow off from work, so I think I'm gonna spend most of the afternoon working on that Tyranny of Dragons video, and then I will publish that by the end of the month, which is really exciting. So. Do you consider doing a series touching on the greater pantheon, doing the history of each god specifically? I need to work on my religion building. I have done pantheon videos, Cameron Dis. So search through the playlists, and I think you'll find a playlist on deities of the Forgotten Realms. What I haven't touched on is the non-human deities, so the elven deities and the dwarvish deities and things like that. And so people have asked for that, and I'm going to eventually make deity videos based on that. So yeah. What kind of boss monster do you enjoy introducing to players that are around 1 to 5th level? I don't know off the top of my head. Like, I want to write another campaign. Like I wrote Dragon on the Mount. I want to write another one where it's a sentient ooze is the end boss. So maybe an ooze, because I like oozes. Yeah. What? Hey, it's been fun hanging out, but I got to go be productive. Have fun. Thank you, Dylan Downs. That is very generous of you. That's really nice of you. So thank you so much. And you have a good day. Antagonist is not always villains, but villains are always antagonists. Yeah. See, we're arguing semantics here about poor Jarlaxle, and really I put the title villain on him because Waterdeep Dragon Heist did. But I understand how people feel. Like, but he's not a villain. He's a nice guy. He's just misunderstood. He's an anti-hero. He's this. And so, yeah. Are there any famous gnomes and halflings in the Forgotten Realms other than Dritz's friend that is obviously famous enough that I can't remember his name? Regis? He's a halfling. And then there was a gnome that helped I'm remembering the books now. There was a gnome that moved they protected one of the dwarven settlements from a goblin attack, an orc attack. Can't remember off the top of my head. I'm failing you guys. I'm sorry. Yeah. Regis is a halfling. Yes, thank you. It is Regis. It's not politically correct to flaunt your D&D playing capacities with people that don't have a group to play with. Oh, sorry, Mr. L. That is true. Going to play with old friend who used to D&D in junior high with my daughters. Any advice on playing with kids? I really like the lore you provide. Appreciate the research you put in. Thank you, Drew. Playing with kids, I would just let the kids be creative and don't let them try not to be what I'm trying to say is rather than saying the rules say you can do this, ask them, what do you want to do? And then try to make a rule that allows them to do what they want to do. Because a lot of times kids, especially in role-playing games, they're not focused on what they can't do. They're just focused on well, if I can do anything, I want to take, common one is just he's got something in his hand. I want to shoot it out of his hand. We'll just say you can do that. Roll 2 days, take basically use disadvantage to try and knock it out of his hand or something. Let the kid be creative. But I haven't played a lot with kids. So in general, I think you should let kids be creative. Was supposed to play a game with Lucian today, but he's still sick. That Lucian. He's been so sick lately. It's not fun for him. What would your advice be for making an ancient dragon defeatable for 3 players? We haven't been able to get a 4th for a long time, but this dragon is ancient in nature, and I want it to feel such. Perhaps there is 4 or 5 quests they can go on that will somehow lessen the power of the ancient dragon. You go here and it loses its half its dice for its breath weapon because you took away some magic from it. Or you go here, or you create some kind of item that you use that makes half of its hit points go down. So it's still a really tough struggle, but they have a chance. That's kind of what I would do, is make it a quest for them to be listen, we can't take on an ancient dragon. There's just 3 of us here. But what we can do is we can go on a quest to even the odds a little bit, find a magic item or siphon away magic that he's currently using to make him an ancient strong dragon. So, yeah. The villain doesn't honestly believe that they are the hero of their own story. Trey, that's good. What villain doesn't honestly believe they are the hero of their own story? That's true. Dave says, are you going to Gen Con this year? So far, I am. I've bought my tickets. I have a place to stay. I just need to buy my plane ticket, which I will be doing next month, I think. And then, yes, I have housing and I have my ticket. So Gen Con is for sure happening so far. I'm excited. Because I had so much fun last year, and now I know how Gen Con operates. So I can hopefully get into some DCC games and some Dungeons and Dragons games, and actually, rather than just wandering the con floor, which is kind of what I did, I want to actually play some more games. I got into a Numenera game, and I got into another game, but now that I know how the system works, I'm going to try and get tickets early to get into those spots. So yeah. Do you prefer to make custom minions or just use stock guys from the book? Beard Bear, I use just minions from the book, because the book is there and it is a resource for me to use, but I do make custom villains that I want to play with. So yeah. The deep gnome also helped Dritz in the Underdark. That is true. Gnomes and halfling need more love. So do villains, especially liches. Yeah, make the old dragon sick, weakened. Yeah. And I don't think Volo is a gnome. Volo is definitely a human being. I'm pretty sure. He's in the Neverwinter. I think he's voiced by Chris Perkins in the Neverwinter MMO. They put Volo in there, so. Do I know of any dragon weakening artifacts that exist? In the 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons guide, there is a dragon something that is a major artifact that I think controls dragons, but you could use that artifact and maybe tweak it that it weakens them instead. Or maybe it's like an aura. Or power up your players. Maybe they polymorph into minor dragons or something, and then they can take it out like that. I did something similar where my players came up against a ancient dragon, but the god Savras imbued them with power, and they transformed into greater avatars of Savras, and they were able to defeat the dragon this way. They kind of, like, I had a small fight against some drow, and then the larger fight against the dragon, they changed as well, and they became like large, if not huge, gigantic creatures, and it was just this like giant monster punch out against an ancient dragon, an ancient purple dragon, which was cool. Sentient oozes, spawn of Juiblix, or even Juiblix itself, possibly. Or Gonador. I like Gonador as well, as maybe they're worshipping Gonador or they're worshipping Juiblix. Either one, I haven't decided yet, but I want to write another adventure. Is the Feywild on a similar timeline as Forgotten Realms, or would entering a portal into the Fey be like time travel? If you're in the Feywild, it goes faster or slower depending on what the DM wants to do. So that's up to you. Like, it's definitely like a month in the Feywild could be a day in real life, or an hour in the Feywild could be a year in real life. It's just interesting like that. I think my wife just got home too, so I might end this stream in a little bit. We've been going for 50 minutes. I'm going to lose my voice before D&D. It's going to be awful. But yes, Volo is human, guys. Would like to think about them as a larger group, perhaps being driven by a demon. That would be an interesting campaign, but hard to figure out. Okay. Do you want to guess what the next D&D Forgotten Realms story is? Something with boats, I'm assuming. So, Potion of Dragon Slaying? Yeah, you know. Don't feel too silly, Coed. It happens to the best of us. Are you married? Yes, I am married. My wife just walked in the door. She was out running errands. Behind this magical green screen. I think you meant Orb of Dragonkind. Thank you, Asko. That is exactly what I meant. I just couldn't think of the thing, and my books are all behind me, so thank you. Yeah. Anything Goes says, thanks for the stream. You're welcome. Anything Goes, thank you guys for hanging out. I like chatting with you. This has been a lot of fun. Thank you so much for the super chats. That's really cool. Helps keep the lights on here at Forgotten Realms Explained, because every little bit helps, so it's awesome. Does your hair get advantage on charisma checks? Yes, it was a great stream. Thanks so much. Thank you guys. All right, I'm going to end this. I will see you. You know what? We might do this next week because it's the end of February and I'm trying to do one at the end of the month. So stay tuned. Maybe we'll do this next week again, next Sunday, and we'll hang out. But love you all. Mwah. Bye. Take care.